It's that time again, folks. Let's talk about the 2025 Tesla Model 3 lineup. And if you haven't peeked at some of the updated range yet, well, buckle up. There's a shiny new Tesla Model 3 stealing the spotlight, the long-range rear-wheel drive. And it's available worldwide right now, boasting a quoted range and real-world range that rivals petrol cars, and frankly with a price tag that's honestly a steal. But while it's being hailed as Tesla's most efficient and longest ranging EV to date, there are a few quirks that you do want to clock before you hit buy. The truth is that every trim, be it the base rear wheel drive, the long range rear wheel drive, the all wheel drive long range, or the performance, it has its own flavour of pros and cons, you could say. And depending on your vibe, one might just outshine the others in value. Now, no matter which trim that you do pick, Tesla's got a killer baseline of features in 2025. And we're talking about ventilated seats, a rear passenger screen, upgraded suspension, and that slick hands-free trunk, all standard across the board, and upgrades that you will also find in its big brother, the refreshed Tesla Model Y. But either way, you won't feel shortchanged jumping from the base Model 3 to the Model 3 Performance on the big stuff. But here's the kicker. The smaller differences between the trims might be your make or break moment, or leave you kicking yourself for splurging too much on the bells and whistles that you'll never use. And that's what this video is all about, just helping you slice through the noise and figure out which Model 3 trim and its quirks matter most to you. And I've guided tons of folks through this maze before, and with Tesla's tweaking their lineup faster than you can charge a battery, I've honed my take to stand out. Forget the dry spec sheets, I'm here to help just bring the comparison to life. No referral required, so if you have got a mate with a referral code, do snag that discount off the price list. If you don't have a mate with a referral code to use, well, I can be your mate, and you can use my referral link in the video description if you need one. So if you're eyeing up a new Tesla Model 3, EV newbie or not, this breakdown will just show you what real-world range looks like for each trim, whether that extra charging speed is worth it for your life. Maybe saving an hour of charging time over a year doesn't justify the ticket price for you. For some, maybe it doesn't. And that's the kind of nitty-gritty details that I'm trying to unpack today. Plus, I'll dig into details on Tesla's website that they do tend to gloss over, like the door trim materials. Yeah, my Tesla obsession is finally paying off. And if you're vibing with this so far, please do hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Let's dive into this beast. First up, the big one, range and charging speed across the 2025 trims, and why it's not a deal breaker in every case. But hang on, why did I say that? The real world differences will click in just a sec. Starting with the base Tesla Model 3 rear-wheel drive, sadly, it's been phased out of the US for now. But it's still alive and kicking in the UK and Europe, and it's packing a hefty 318 miles WLTP range. And this bad boy rocks an LFP battery, which you should note down as a big win for owners. In plain talking English, you can charge it to 100% frequently without sweating about battery wear. It's literally a tank. Years down the line, you'll still be hovering close to that 318 miles range at full juice because of its unrivaled strength in the degradation area. The catch? Its peak charging speed tops out at 170 kilowatts. Not too shabby, but it's not the fastest charging Tesla Model 3 in town. Enter the new 2025 long-range rear-wheel drive Model 3. This is now the US-based option, but frankly, it's a global head-turner. It, along with the all-wheel drive long range and performance trims, they all flex a zippy 250 kilowatts charging speed compared to the rear-wheel drive Model 3 at 170 kilowatts. Now, let's break down the range specs before we get practical and real-world alike. The long-range rear-wheel drive leads the pack with a jaw-dropping 436 WLTP miles. Ladies and gents, that's pretty much petrol car territory, and I searched Grok for what a BMW 330i would get in 2025, and it delivers a rated combined of 452 miles. Not really much in it, I would say. Word is, though, it can even hit over 600 miles when combined with a single 15-minute charge, and get this, it's $5,000 and £5,000 cheaper than an all-wheel drive long range. You're probably thinking, more range, less cash, sign me up. But hold up, wait a minute, something's not quite right. Beyond the obvious single motor and the traction trade-off, there are some interior tweaks that may just sway you otherwise. and we'll get onto that in just a moment. Finally, the range for the Tesla Model 3 Performance, hands down the hottest looking of the bunch. Let's be honest, it's not built for max range or efficiency. It's here to turn heads and rip 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds with 163 miles per hour top speed, 38 miles per hour more than the rear-wheel drives and the long range. The range though sits at 328 WLTP miles, just 10 more than the base rear-wheel drive, with that same 250 kilowatts charging speed as the long range trims. Quick practicality note before we crunch some real world numbers, Tesla recommends charging the long range and performance models to 80 to 90% daily unless you do need the full 100% for a big trip. So the long range rear wheel drive nets you an extra 118 miles full tilt over the rear wheel drive Model 3, but it does need a touch more battery TLC than the LFP powered base rear wheel drive, for which if it's available in your country, this is why that battery strength of the LFP powered base rear wheel drive is so attractive. 100% frequently, limited concerns to have in the battery deg. However, that 250 kilowatt speed, it really does just shine through with the bigger battery packs of the long range variants through faster fill-ups and just longer hauls. Okay, moving on, and you may be thinking, Adam, range specs are cool, but how do these trims actually stack up in the real world with range and charging? In the UK and Europe, the base rear-wheel drive is a champ for most drivers, especially with overnight home charging. It's nimble for daily errands and it can tackle the odd road trip, no sweat. The proof of that is coming, hang tight. So don't peg this one too early as the city-only rider. It's still very much got legs. The real gap with the long-range rear-wheel drive shows up on the trips over 319 miles, and that's where the extra range and the faster charging is going to start to flex its muscles. For me, as an average UK driver, 300 plus miles treks, they're rare. 436 miles daily, let alone 600, is unicorn territory, and it's actually going to be targeted more to those business customers. Superchargers, I hit them maybe, a handful of times a year. So the $5,000 or the £5,000 premium for more range and speed just doesn't move the needle for me and for the average driver too. Therefore, this time saved or lack thereof doesn't really justify it for most drivers over the course of the year. And here's a real world example to prove it. Tailored to my life, but easy to tweak it for yours. Say I do a 614 mile round trip, which I don't do, but let's just roll with it. How much charging time does the all-wheel drive long range save over the base rear-wheel drive? Guess 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour? Well, using fleet data from a Better Route Planner, and that's just a shout out, no sponsor, it's just 27 minutes in charging time and one less stop. That's it. The long range rear-wheel drive has the same amount of stops as the all-wheel drive long range, but it saves you 5 minutes more time for a total stoppage time of 37 minutes across 3 stops. Now, this is where I flip it to you. How often do you do 600-mile hauls? 3 times a year? Based on this example, that's 1 hour 21 minutes saved tops. Shorter trips under 300 miles, 0 charging time loss with home or destination plugs. So ask yourself, is the time actually going to be worth the extra cash? And that's the core question on the range and the charging speed element of this. It's your call, and it's going to be totally based on your driving habits. And if you want to run your own numbers to get a more personal answer, it's super easy to do too. As you just saw, I used a Better Route Planner. It's a free web-based solid tool. You can also get a phone app for it too. Plug in your trip data and you'll see how each trim holds up for you. Most folks will be shocked at how capable the base rear drive is, but if you're a road warrior clocking 300 plus miles daily, the long range rear wheel drive or the all wheel drive long range will likely be your go-to, as leaning on that range and speed more often will make sense. Oh, and the performance, I skipped it earlier for a reason. It's a curveball. It's built for speed, not distance, but it still holds its own and yields a similar but slightly worse than the all-wheel drive long-range figures. Something to chew on later maybe. On the outside, the differences, barring the wheels and the performance trim, the only giveaway is a dual motor badge on the all-wheel drive models. That's it. Same stance, same vibe. The performance though, pure menace. Air grills, front splitter, rear diffuser, spoiler and a lower ride. The colours on the wheels stay consistent except for the performance's standard 20-inch warp rims. Inside is where it's going to get spicy. The base rear-wheel drive and the long-range rear-wheel drive rock a partial premium interior, while the all-wheel drive long-range does full premium. And what does that mean then? Well, audio is the biggie. All-wheel drive long-range gets dual amps and dual subs and 17 speakers. Rear-wheel drive trims, they're going to settle for just 19 speakers. Door trims, they're going to differ to a generic fabric on the partial premium, unless you do snag a white interior option to level it up. The performance adds exclusive sports seats and a carbon fibre-esque weave on the dash. It's sharp and functional. Any other notable differences, Adam? Well, a few extras to flag. The all-wheel drive long range and performance trims are dual motors, which will smooth out those winter drives, and naturally it boosts acceleration times. Performance tops out at 163 miles per hour, while the others, they're capped at 125 miles per hour. Warranty wise, the long range and performance get 20,000 miles more battery and motor miles, over 8 years still, than the base rear-wheel drive. The acceleration drops from 5.8 seconds to 2.9 seconds across the trims. Even the base isn't slow, but all still worthy points to highlight. So to conclude, which 2025 Tesla Model 3 suits you? Well, I can't pick that for you, but here's going to be my take. The base rear-wheel drive nails it for most drivers. Need the max range? The long range rear-wheel drive, that's going to be a sweet spot, especially for those business customers out there that do the mileage. Want a jack of all trades, maybe better sound and grip and zip? The all-wheel drive long range has you covered, especially in snow. Performance, well, for speed freaks and style hounds, it's the beast calling. Trading range for adaptive suspension and killer looks. The trims are just tailored to suit these kind of different characteristics, but ultimately only you can decide which one is going to be more suited to your style. It's your call. Do you splurge on range and speed, go for performance and flair, or even just pocket the savings and go for a rear-wheel drive variant and go for maybe extra paint, the white seats, or even FSD? Those little spec gaps, they do drive up the price overall, so decide what really is going to click for you. Don't forget to check out accessories for your new Tesla Model 3. I have an exclusive discount code for one of Tesla's leading third-party providers in the video description if you do need any arm twisting. If you haven't already done so, I'd appreciate if you could just like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and share the video with any friends or family that may find the video beneficial. You think it's been great, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.